topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Books, beauty products, science, fashion, and glam talk. From Bollywood to Hollywood, it's Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on W4WN Radio, the Women for Women Network. And here's your host, international speaker, educator, award-winning entrepreneur, and best-selling author, Dr. Afshan N. Hashmi.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Afshan Hashmi with her show, Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio and TV show at W4WN Radio and Talk 4 TV from the Florida studio. And friends, this show has a new time now, so please make a note of it. It is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. US Eastern Time, and before it was from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. US Eastern Time, and this show is syndicated worldwide to 300 million listeners. So if you give me sponsorships for these shows, then you will be very popular and your product will be very popular. Even also, I'm looking for guests, and I get lot of emails about to come as a guest in my show, but there is a price tag to it, and I usually charged $250 for 30 minutes interview. So if you are interested as a guest, please contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. Having said that, friends, these are my two Amazon best-selling books. So if you haven't bought these two books, then please go and buy these two books and give me an honest review. And also for this book, the second one, The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, I am looking for this book to be made into a Hollywood movie or Amazon or Netflix series. So if any Hollywood producer or Amazon series or Netflix series producers are listening, please contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. And now, friends, I will play a request for a sponsorship film, and here it is. Jason. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Afshan Hashmi live from a barn in Virginia, and I just wanted to say for my W4WN Radio and Talk 4 TV, I request everyone who is listening to please give sponsorships if you want these shows to continue, because this show is syndicated worldwide to more than 300 million listeners. So if you give me sponsorship, your product will be promoted to more than 300 million listeners around the globe. And I wanted to tell you that to make these kind of shows, it requires a lot of money and energy. So I just want to request a sponsorship, and cheers and bye bye. Friends, also I have made some behind the scene videos which are live on my YouTube channel as well as on my Vimeo channel, so you can go there and watch those, so and you will realize how much preparation goes on and money is involved, to make these kind of shows. Having said that, friends, there is another movie which I have prepared, and that is about how to develop concept of books. And here it is. And Jason, can you please play that movie? Hello listeners around the globe, and today I want to tell you in my TV show, this is Dr. Afshan Hashmi with Glam World with Dr. Afshan Hashmi. As you know, I am a best-selling author of the book The Modern Mughal Mentality, New Strategies to Succeed in India and the Global Marketplace. And the second book, which has just been launched, and it is from an Amazon best-selling and hot #1 new release author, comes a sizzling FBI and CBI mystery/thriller science fiction book, The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection. And recently I have launched my company, which is called Dr. Afshan Hashmi Consulting Group LLC. And I will be writing books, and I can do the book development process. I can advise you how to write a book, how to write a best-selling book, and I am getting lot of calls that how to write a best-selling book. So for that you have to pay my consulting fees, and then I will advise you on that, and for that you can contact me at afshan@drafshanhashmi.com. So friends, today what I consult is that I can develop the idea for you, tell you how this idea would be selling in the market, and I would do some research for you, so I can advise from book development process to the very end with the book in your hand. And if you want, you can contact me at afshan@drafshanhashmi.com. This is a very good book which just came in market, and it is #1 New York Times bestseller. Author comes The Collusion by Newt Gingrich and Pete Early. So this book I chose to give you an example, because of the Mueller investigation getting so much media coverage, that this is not like any Mueller investigation report or anything. It is just the name. The name is so captivating that anybody would pick up this book, and of course it is a Speaker Newt Gingrich's book, so the name also counts. So the other thing is that for the book idea you have to pick up something, and it's a novel. It is not an I can read. #1 New York Times best-selling author Newt Gingrich makes his return to political fiction with this rollicking tale of high-stakes international intrigue, the first book in a new contemporary series filled with adventure, betrayal, and politics that captures the tension and divides of America and the world today. So, Valerie Mayberry is the FBI's counterintelligence expert on domestic terrorism. So the book starts by a very captivating thing, and it is just a novel. So you can write novels based on your the current affairs which are going. That's what I want to tell you. Then the other book which is selling like hot cake is of Dan Bongino, who was on President Obama's detail, and he wrote a book, Spygate, and this is also selling with hot cake. And just see how much, this is the book. I have it on my Kindle. This is the book, and this is selling like hot cake. So you should write books which have very, very common problems or anything related to which will attract the audience. You should not write something which nobody likes. You should go and see what everybody likes and how many books have been sold by that. Naturally, I cannot tell you everything here. Since I was getting so many emails and everything, I thought that I will come on this episode and talk about how to write a best-selling book. Although bestsellers are not guaranteed, the way there are many factors on that. We just try to make it bestseller. We do our best. I write books, and that is my job. So just see what is there in this. And now I will be reading little bit from my book, The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, and it says, a monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. Is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population or bioterrorism? What is this global infection and who is spreading this? To know that, read this suspenseful book by an Amazon best-selling and hot #1 new release author of a previous book called The Modern Mughal Mentality, New Strategies to Succeed in India and the Global Marketplace. In the authors, that is yours truly, second book, a sizzling science fiction story, a crime is investigated by the FBI in collaboration with the Central Bureau of Investigation. conversation. So this is a very, very cool book and everybody is liking it. So if you haven't bought my two books, go and buy it please, and make it Amazon. This one Amazon, Wall Street and New York's bestseller. Cheers! And this is your loving host, Dr. Afshan Hashmi, now signing off from this episode of Glam World with Dr. Afshan Hashmi. Bye bye. And now, friends, I will be reviewing a book by an Hollywood actress, and this got my attention. And this is a very well written book, and it is by Gabrielle Union. You Got Anything Stronger? And this is the cover of the book. I have it on my Kindle, and I can do book reviews for you. My book reviews are very popular, and I can do your book reviews on this show and on my other K4HD radio and Talk 4 TV show, as well as on this one W4WN radio and Talk 4 TV. I can be in conversation with the authors. So if you have any those kind of needs, please contact me and I can develop a book concept for you which can eventually become a Amazon bestseller. So this is my script. I prepared a script for it and now I'm going to read little bit. So who is Gabrielle Union? About Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle Union is the author of We Are Going to Need More Wine, a New York Times bestseller, and welcome to the party, her first book for children. She is also an actress, activist, producer, and New York and company fashion designer. She currently stars and produces the Spectrum original LA's Finest alongside Jessica Elba. Union is an executive producer through her production shingle I Will Have Another. Season 2 of the show will be out on Spectrum on June 8th. Union played the titular character in the critically acclaimed BET drama Being Mary Jane and starred in various movies such as Think Like a Man 2, and Bring It On. Union's passion for acting is rivaled by her championing of causes near and dear to her heart, such as breast health, combating sexual violence, and LGBTQ issues. About the book, funny, tender, and so good. Mindy Kaling, number one New York Times best-selling author of Why Not Me. Remember when we hit it off so well that we decided we are going to need more wine? Well, this time you and I are going to turn to our friend the bartender and ask, you got anything stronger? I promise to continue to make you laugh, but with this round the stakes get higher as the conversation goes deeper. So where were we? Right, you and I left off in October 2017 when my first book came out. The weeks before were filled with dreams of loss, pets dying, my husband leaving me, babies not being born. My therapist told me it was my soul preparing for my true self to emerge after letting go of my grief. I had finally spoken openly about my fertility journey. I was having second thoughts. In fact, so many thoughts they were organizing to go on a strike. But I knew I had to be honest because I didn't want other women going through IVF to feel as alone as I did. I had suffered in isolation, having so many miscarriages that I could not give an exact number. Strangers shared their own journeys and heartbreak with me. I had led with the truth and it opened the door to compassion. When I released We Are Going to Need More Wine, the response was so great. People asked when I would do a sequel. The New York Times even ran a headline reading, We Are Going to Need More Gabrielle Union. Frankly, after being so open and honest in my writing, I wasn't sure there was more of me I was ready to share. But life happens with all its plot twists, and new stories demand to be told. This time I need to be more vulnerable, not so so much for me, but anyone who feels alone in what they are going through. A lot has changed in 4 years. I became a mom and I'm raising two amazing girls. My husband retired. My career has expanded so that I have the opportunity to lift up other voices that need to be heard. But the world has also shown us that we have a lot we still have to fight for as women, as black women, as mothers, as aging women, as human beings, as friend. In You Got Anything Stronger, I show you how this ever changing life presents challenges, even as it gives me moments of pure joy. I take you on a girls' night at Chetio Marmont, and I also talk to Isis, my character from Bring It On. For the first time, I truly open about my surrogacy journey and the birth of Kavya James Union Wade, and I take on racist institutions and practices in the entertainment industry, asking for equally and real accountability. You Got Anything Stronger is me at my most vulnerable. I have recently found true strength in that vulnerability, and I want to share that power with you here through the book. So, this was about the book, and now I will read some editorial reviews. Funny, tender, and so good. Mindy Kaling, number one New York Times best-selling author of Why Not Me. This is an absolute must-read. Gabrielle doesn't just open up; she opens up conversations we need to be having. Sunny Houston, New York Times best-selling author of Summer on the Bluffs and I Am These Truths. Here is that rare book that will not only touch your heart but also send you back out there to stand up for yourself and others. Meena Harris, number one New York Times best-selling author of Ambitious Girl. This book is a masterclass in authenticity and vulnerability, and I loved it. I drank up the words on the pages because this is Gabby's heart wide open in print. It's a stunning read that is deeply humanizing, and I'm inspired by the courage and humor in it. It's just so damn good. Lavi Ajiyi Jones, New York Times best-selling author of Professional Troublemaker, The Fear Fighter Manual. Gabrielle Union has written another wonderful book that pulls no punches. The searing honesty of You Got Anything Stronger is a gift to readers. Union faces head on the different ways women become mothers and partners in an emotionally resonant and universal way. Her voice is relatable, warm, and sharp. You owe it to yourself to curl up with this book and to pass it along to a friend. Tracy McMillan Cotton Professor and MacArthur Fellow. This text refers to the hardcover edition. And then there is a top review from the United States top 50 reviewer, and I got it from Amazon. And it says 5 out of 5 stars, a very personal collection of stories from Union's life, impressive, powerful storytelling. Reviewed in the United States on September 14, 2021. This book is a deeply personal window into the life of Gabrielle Union and her family as she talks about some of the events in her life over the past few years. This book has 21 chapters and about 240 pages in the digital version. The first chapter deals with Union's attempt to have a baby. She discusses her adenomyosis diagnosis after many miscarriages, wrestling with insecurity, and eventually deciding to use a surrogate. She describes the crazy ups and downs of living their lives while desperately trying to have a baby and her relief when little Kavya finally arrived. Throughout the rest of the book, Union covers many personal topics, some of which are very painful and difficult to read. She discusses being raped at 19, issues with her husband, learning to be vulnerable, navigating being a stepmom, and the transition of their daughter Zaya, but also humorous stories like having bowel issues at a strip club, her crazy freshman year of college, and a failed audition of the Matrix sequel. equals. One of the things that stood out to me was how eloquent and powerful Union's descriptions are. These are not the amateurish musings of a celebrity attempting to write, but vivid and emotional passages with a mastery of language on par with authors that have been writing for many years. I hadn't read her previous book, and I found myself thinking, wow, she can do this too, and better than some people that only do this. This is really an intimate account of events in her life, and after reading it, I can see why she starts the introduction taking to the reader as if they were in the early stages of a relationship with her. Be prepared to have an unfiltered and sometimes painful look into her world, but also rest assured that you won't be disappointed by her ability to tell a good story. So now, after this, I am going on a break, and friends, when I come up after the break, then I will tell you about my review of this book. You got anything stronger?
Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email to info@talkformedia.com. And now let's hear from some of our sponsors.
Chapter 2: How Jugaad Leads to Multi-Sector Success Stories in India, including definitions of the Jugaad Management Principle business model. Of the book, The Modern Mughal Mentality: New Strategies to Succeed in India and the Global Marketplace. Inspiration: True Jugaad is an inspiration on how to create products using technology that meet the price-value equation. According to a Harvard Business Review article featuring expert Prahlad and Mashelkar, most innovation programs are built on the assumptions of affluence and abundance. We see the rich and the young in both the developed and the developing countries demanding environmental friendly products and services. They also believe that affordability and sustainability are crucial to driving successful business today. New technologies and radical business models are important not only to penetrate mass markets in India but in the entire world. By reconfiguring all areas of the business structure, they will pull.
A monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. OMG, is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population? Or maybe it's bioterrorism. What is this global infection and who is spreading it? Help us find out. Go to Amazon and search for The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection. The human race needs your help to make this go viral. Go to Amazon.com and read The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection to find out what happens next. Go now! The world is depending on you.
And now, back to Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show.
So now, friends, this is my review, which I have reviewed this book, You Got Anything is Stronger. And here is my review, and here I go. In celebration of the release of You Got Anything Stronger, which dives deeper into Union's experiences with everything from motherhood and marriage to racist institutions and epic dance battles. Since the actor and producer Gabrielle Union released her resonant 2017 memoir in essays, We Are Going to Need More Wine, which detailed her experiences with racism and sexual assault as a young person in Hollywood and her struggle with infertility in her 40s. Her life has continued to make headlines. She had her daughter Kavya James Union Wade by a surrogate. Her husband, the former Miami Heat player Dwayne Wade, retired from the NBA. has spoken out against Hollywood racism, and she supported her teenage stepdaughter Zaya as she came out as transgender. This time, she's bringing more touching humor while being vulnerable as she shares some of the most impactful events that shaped her life. A lot has transpired since the release of her first book 4 years ago. Union became a mother, and her husband, Dwayne Wade, retired from the NBA. But Union says there were many chapters she left out of the first book because she wasn't ready to talk about them yet. The new essay collection delves into some very intimate subjects, pursuing surrogacy after experiencing infertility, grappling with depression, and facing racial prejudices in Hollywood and beyond. She has a way with words that make you comfortable but also grabs your attention. She's brutally honest and open. Really enjoyed this book. You will laugh and cry reading this book. Book is beautifully written, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. So this was my review, folks, and if you want me to review your books or your products, you can contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. I can review them on this program of W4WN Radio and Talk for TV, as well as on my program of K4HD and Talk for TV. And now, friends, I will go on a break, and once when I come back from break, I will read little bit from the book.
Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email to info@talk4media.com. And now let's hear from some of our sponsors.
A monstrous infection is spreading worldwide. Oh my God, is this a simple infection or a deliberate attempt to ruin the human population? Or maybe it's bioterrorism. What is this global infection and who is spreading it? Help us find out. Go to Amazon and search for The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection. The human race needs your help to make this go viral. Go to Amazon.com and read The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection to find out what happens next. Go now. The world is depending on you.
The Outbreak of a Monstrous Infection, Chapter 1, 1964 to 2018, and this is the sample track, and it is read by Dr. Afshan Hashmi. In a sprawling bungalow in Potomac, Maryland, USA, lived Dr. Honey Singh, a board-certified internal medicine and family practice physician, along with his beautiful wife, Baby Singh. Baby Singh was a fashionista and was funding women's causes through her Honey Bay Foundation. She had a ladies' book club by the name of Baby's Glam and Glitzy Club, which had many glam and glitzy ladies who were professionals living in Washington, D.C., Potomac, Maryland, Virginia, and even Beverly Hills, California, as well as elites from all of America meeting at her place on the last Wednesday of every month, discussing various aspects of charities they wanted her and Dr. Honey to fund. In this club, there was a wide spectrum of career women. There were doctors, lawyers, actresses, business owners, and models, to name a few. In these book club meetings, members would come prepared after reading a book of a famous woman author, and that author was even invited from any part of the world to give her presentation, followed by a Q&A in this prestigious and elite gathering.
And now, back to Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show.
So, friends, I reviewed this book earlier in the show, this one, and now I'm going to read little bit from this book. Introduction. When I publish my first book, We Are Going to Need More Wine in 2017, I opened by saying that it felt like you and I were on a first date. We each bought our expectations, not sure if this was going to go anywhere. So this was little bit from the introduction and love now the first chapter. Loved even as a thought. So where were we? Right, you and I left off in October 2017 when my first book came out. The weeks before the release were filled with dreams of loss, pets dying, my husband leaving me, babies not being born. My therapist told me those dreams were my soul preparing for my true self to emerge after letting go of my grief. So this was little bit from the first chapter. And now I want to read little bit from the second chapter. And the second chapter is Dream Team. I saw a ghost last night. Dawn and I were on the couch halfway through the latest episode of The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan docu-series on ESPN. 5 episodes in the show had become my Sunday night obsession as a lifelong sports fan. It was my heaven. Kavya James had other plans, however, and grabbed the remote. She somehow managed to push every button at once and the screen blacked out. Carve, I said as she turned to try to climb in onto the couch unbothered. She was the show as usual. When I got the television working again, Jordan appeared on screen at the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona, walking with Magic Johnson in their USA jerseys. Together, they were the official and unofficial leaders of the Dream Team, the greatest collection of basketball talent ever assembled. So this was second chapter, and now I will read little bit from the third chapter. Embrace your kryptonite. He sat across from me, regarding me for a long time. You know, he started. Let's get this out of the way. A couple of years ago, I was in a consult with a shaman. Yelp actually has a list of the 10 best shamans in Hollywood, but that is not how I found him. Laugh, but I got results. Like what he was about to tell me, he could see in my aura. You look at vulnerability as your kryptonite, he said. Correct, I thought and nodded. And you need to think of it as your superpower, he continued. Vulnerability will unlock everything that has been denied you. And now, friends, this is a good book. So if you want to read it, it is available everywhere. And also, friends, if you want me to review your books on this program or write books on as a ghostwriter or as a collaborator with you, developing the concept of the book from the very beginning till the end book in your hand, and eventually which leads to Amazon bestsellers, then you can contact me at Afshan at drafshanhashmi.com. And now, friends, I sign off from this episode of my show. See you tomorrow, next Thursday at K4HD and Talk 4 TV show, and also next week 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on this W4WN and Talk 4 TV. And now I sign off and cheers and bye bye.
You have been listening to Dr. Afshan Hashmi's radio show on W4WN Radio, the Women for Women Network. Tune in live right here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Would you love exposure for your business, product, or service to over 300 million potential listeners? Send an email at info@talk4media.com. And remember, if you missed any part of this show or want to hear it again, find our featured show on iHeartRadio, where all past episodes are available on demand 24/7. See you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.